Well, thanks for coming back. We're on part 2 of our 2-part series. We learned about the difference between having our mind full and being mindful last time, and now we are at letting it go. So I wrote this class in response to carrying a lot and how we can free our minds by letting some stuff go. It's very Frozen-esque. If you have any little girls in your life, that was a huge movie a few years ago, and it was based on just letting it go. So it's actually a huge part of being mindful and being in yoga. So we're going to start seated. We're going to go right to our breathing before we learn anything, before we do our lecture. And you'll need to have with you, because you're home, you can pause this and just get your stuff if you don't have it. You'll need to have a long place to work, a place to sit, and a place to move. So I'm going to move up to a yoga mat, but you can just be on a carpet or tile, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But first we'll start seated. So back to our original seat. Sit on something if you want, or be flat on the floor. Hips underneath the shoulders. Spine long. We're going to do just some gentle breathing. We didn't try. We did the box breathing and we did the in and out breathing on the floor last time. We're going to do some gentle waterfall breathing. So you just bring your fingertips close to the floor, rub them against there, then inhale up. And exhale, you can just float your hands like it's raining. That's your big exhale. This part is always the weirdest part. You're just trying to connect your breath to your body. Breathing is something, thankfully, we don't have to think about. We just do it, or else we would not be alive if we had to think of every time we have to take in oxygen and take out carbon dioxide. But part of being mindful is recognizing the breath. I hear my dogs. Don't let that get in your mind. Just go back to your breath. Last one. Inhale big. This time we're going to stop at the top. Bring our hands to prayer hands. Bring our thumb knuckles right to our heart. Close down our eyes. We're just going to feel our heart beat and our chest move with some breath. All right. Now we're a little grounded and we're ready to go. All right, part of being mindful is getting that junk out of your system. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on a few body parts that hold stuff in. Of course, there's things that we need to vent out as far as journaling and clearing our mind, but our body holds information too. So we're going to do shoulders and hips today. That's why we needed some movement stuff. Shoulders first. So you're going to sit down, pick one arm, give yourself a pat on the back. Then take the other arm, grab that elbow, and just stretch that shoulder out. Give yourself a nice little stretch. We hold all of the burden in our shoulders, that's facts. And then you're gonna open up, give yourself some little spirit fingers, and then switch sides. Plus gravity hits there, it hits our head and our shoulders first, and the head's heavy, metaphorically and real. It's a heavy item, so we need to give our neck and shoulders a break. That's our first stretch. Then you're going to take one ear, put it to that same shoulder, and then just itsy bitsy spider your fingers across the floor a little bit, little neck stretch. Breathe here, clearing us out some space, and then roll that chin forward, opposite ear, opposite shoulder, hands tiptoe away. And don't get all caught up in how unflexible you are, how many noises your neck made. Just let it be. All right. Next thing, we're going to work on our hips just a little bit. Hips carry emotion. So that's one of the things that they found in yoga, that the hip joints carry a lot of joy, a lot of pain. We clench there. So we're just going to pretend this is a bowl. I do this in kids yoga too. Pretend this is a bowl and we're a ladle, and you're just going to gently rock around like you're stirring your brownie mix, just to create some space in there so we can let go of things. We're going to do that later, but we got to get our body ready. And you can bring your shoulders into it too. You can get as hippie as you want with it. There is a breathing that works. You inhale as you come up back, exhale as you come forward. And if you can organize all that, stirring the bowl and breathing in halfway circles, you get yourself in this little rhythm. And once you feel like, ooh, I feel so free, I can totally freely think and let go of things today. We're going to stop. make it complicated. We're going to put the weird foot in front. So we all have a favorite leg to sit in our cross-legged. You're going to put the other one in front, get back to being tall, get over it, like I'm already weirded out because I don't like this. Then you're going to take your spoon and stir it up the opposite way. So you can think for a minute. And then stir probably counterclockwise with your weird leg in front. Get out of your own head about how you don't like this. This doesn't feel right. And just kind of understand it's part of the process. All right, we'll stop right there. All right, now that we stirred up everything we wanted to stir up, we're going to do some spinal waves. It's going to get our head talking to our body, our blood flowing through. So if you are a yogi, it's cat-cow seated, but since we're being mindful thinkers, we'll just not call it anything. Get nice and firm. You're going to make a back like a little C curve. You're going to push your back out, bring your chin to your chest, make a little C, like a capital C, and your chest is going to get compressed, and that's when you exhale. Then you're going to breathe through. Your chest gets long. You make a little arch back there. That's your big inhale. Exhale down. You can kind of rock a little bit on your bottom. Go at your own pace with your own breath. There's no keeping up with me, or if you're at home doing it with somebody, there's no keeping up with them because lungs are a different size. It's your own little journey. And you're going to do that 2 more breaths, so 4 more movements. That's my exhale for my second one. My inhale, my exhale. All right, now we're ready to get to work. We finished all sorts of breathing. We're ready to learn. We got all unclogged body-wise. Now it's time to work on the mind. So let's start. All right, now it's time to do some excavation, which means getting it out. We got to get all this stuff out. So we got our bodies ready. Now we got to get our minds ready. I talk about 2 things in our mind. We touched on it a little bit in the first one, but there's monkeys and there's ants running around in our head. And the monkeys are the little circus that just plays around in there. They're having a great old time. They're even right now, you're trying to listen to this little class and this phone, but they're kind of thinking about dinner, and you've got other senses. So maybe there's a smell going on, or you can hear things going on, and you have to tell the monkeys in your crazy little circus head, hey, I'm learning about yoga right now. So controlling the monkeys in your mind is the first step of mindfulness. The other one is ants, which I'm not a huge bug fan, but it actually stands for something. Those are automatic negative thoughts. So we did talk about this the first class a little bit, but we're going to dive a little deeper into it. Our inner voice, that voice in our head, automatically goes negative more often than we want. And it is a little bit, it's not because you're a bad person or you're depressed, you've got crazy anxiety that needs to be dealt with. It's a little bit just to keep us safe. It's to keep human beings on the right track. So it relates to the fight or flight stuff, but inside your voice you tell yourself, oh, I better not do that. Oh, I don't know if I was good enough for that. You set yourself up not to be disappointed, but it really holds a lot of people back. So you got to control those ants. When you hear them, you're not going to quiet them kind of all the time, but when you hear them, you have to be like, oh, remember, that's just my mind. That's not me. That's not me all the time. That's my mind talking. And my mind's crazy. It says mean things to me, but I don't have to take it as truth. I can just let it be my mind. So we have to kind of go there with it. And it's a different type of, we always are like, listen to yourself, go with it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it doesn't give you good advice. You have to kind of come out of your mind and be like, okay, was that like a defense mechanism to keep me alive? Or was that really the wise words of wisdom? So don't get all wrapped up in it, but be present to it. So the first thing we're going to do with our journals, we're going to go back to our journals today, and you're going to look back at your first class. We wrote down what things are holding us back? What things did we write down that made us feel worse? We're going to take a look at those and see if we did anything between last week and this week to change any of those behaviors. And if you didn't, it's only been a week, but you got to work on it. So just know that, well, and I didn't get anything done this time. I had a ton to do. But I always say this, the hospital is full of people that don't have time to get sick, and the world is full of people that don't have time to be healthy. So you might as well spend the time making yourself mentally healthy. And part of that is dealing with all this stuff. The stuff that we said we spent a long time with that we didn't like or made us worse people. How did we get away from that? And then again back to, where do you feel most alive? Did you engage more in that? And we talked about how for some people that's working out, for some people that's running, for some people that's just sitting down and playing with the kids or doing crafts. But what are you doing that make you feel the most alive? And if it's work, which I know that was an answer to some of them, good. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. You can go to work and feel that great. Then don't feel bad about that. If that's where you feel the most alive is when I'm being a nurse and doing my thing, then good for you. That's that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we're going to do our next little movement exercise is twofold. We're going to do a lesson, a little bit of talking about not looking back and regret, because that's a part of us that clogs up the mind, that makes it harder to be effective, harder to be efficient, harder to be happy if we keep looking back and regret. One of the places I learned was called shoulding, which sounds like a dirty word, and it's kind of funny when you're like, you should not should on yourself. What you should have done is already over. What you should have worn, what you should have said, where you should have been at the right time, what you should have studied, it's no use to you to go back there. That's part of what we have to let go. So if you can leave it there, it's better. And you think of yourself as like your own friend. When your friends come back to you and be like, oh, I can't take it, I said this, I shouldn't have said that, and you say, okay, well, what are we going to do now? Or let's go over this now, or don't worry about that, that doesn't matter. You've got to be that kind to yourself. So we are going to do a little bit of letting it go poses, and we're going to do some yoga and do some thinking about where we can stop shoulding on ourselves and start getting. So here we go. We're going to all find a spot. We're going to stand up and find a spot you can move. All right, now we are standing up. We're going to try to be tall and full of intention. And this part is a little yoga-y, but all connects because we're going to get ourselves thinking freer, opening up our mind, and letting go. So the first thing we're going to do is stand at attention. This is a yoga pose. It's a very powerful yoga pose because it just means just showing up is enough. So just standing here with your feet on the floor, your shoulders stacked over your hips, just being a human being is actually enough. Just stay here and feel strong, tall, big. We're going to do a warrior one pose, because the warrior one pose is a yoga pose that shows inner strength, that you can do it. You're going to take a giant step forward, and you can either take your back foot and make it like 90 degrees or point all the toes to one place. You're going to bend, lunge into that front leg, put a lot of weight in that back heel, then open up your arms, look up, kind of where the ceiling and the wall meet. Open that heart, and right here you feel big, tall, like a warrior. That's why it's called that, and that you can do this. We're going to hold right here. We're going to move to cactus arms, so you can make fists like muscles, or you can have long hands like cactuses. But here your heart is open and you're like, I'm ready, world, I will receive. We're constantly like this, texting, computer work. I mean, it's part of our life, but this says, I'm full. I've got too much. It's like you have a burden on you. This opens up, and we're never here. So take the time just to be open and free with all this space. Very good. We'll come back, we'll meet. Now we're going to do some letting it go poses. These are fun. You're going to make a little star shape. So widen out your legs. Get your hands nice and long like your star. Get really big and open. And you're going to swoosh down, rush your hands on the floor. You might have to bend your knees. You'll have to hinge at the hips and get down to the floor. So depending on how long your legs are and how far away your floor is, you might have to bend your knees a lot. And you're going to and come back up. So we're going to think of something that makes us very happy and full. Maybe it's our families, our animals. Grab it, have it all inside us, fill us up, and then think of something you need to let go of. Money, relationships, and just drop it all down. Lift back up. Think of something else that makes you feel great. Find something you want to let go of. It's a big exhale. Inhale up. And we're just going to keep doing that until you feel like you physically and emotionally let go of stuff. So continue on as long as you want, and when you're done, you're just going to come back to heart center. All right. Woo! So you probably built up a little, I don't know, you probably made your breath go faster. Now we need to relax. So what we're going to do is I need you to, you can pause this if you need to gather stuff. I forgot to tell you, you need like a blanket, you need a spot like either next to a couch or next to a chair, and maybe a pillow or two, because we're going to get to relaxing, the end of our mindfulness. And I'm going to show you how you set up. So go get all your stuff and then come back to me. All right, so hopefully we're back. We're going to do the waterfall pose, which is a pose that actually is the end of our mindfulness little class, and it's going to bring us back to our minds. You're going to come shimmy right up to the thing that I told you to get next to, so either the couch or the chair. And you're going to try to bring your bottom as close to the edge as you can, because you're going to flip around and get your feet up there. Then all the other stuff, pillows and blankets, that's to make yourself comfortable on the floor. So everything is up against your chair or couch, like a little waterfall, hence the name. And you can grab a blankie so you can get nice and cozy. And you're going to go back to your breath. You're going to think about something that makes you feel loved. Maybe it's a sunny day, maybe it's a person or an animal, maybe it's a specific memory. You're going to close down your eyes, and there's a little spot in your forehead between your eyes. It's called a third eye, and there's wisdom there. So you're going to, even with your eyes closed, try to look at that spot. So it's kind of weird. You have to find your gaze behind your closed eyes. And in that space, you need to come up with that memory or that happiness spot. And your hands are going to come off to the side, palms facing up, as a symbol of receiving. So when our palms are down, we're giving back. We're like, okay, world, I've got stuff to give you, but today we're just getting. We're getting today. We're getting what nature and our bodies are ready to give us to feel nice and free. And we do a big inhale through the nose. Long exhale through the mouth. Big inhale through the nose. Long exhale through the mouth. Now, as you breathe, I'm going to teach you that the sound at the end of om, or in the word mom, yum, or home, that vibration is so soothing to your brain that all of our important words end in it. So if you want, with your exhale, you can inhale and say or home, or mom, or yum, or you don't have to, but it's an added bonus. Or if you don't want to make the actual noise, you can just feel the vibration and kind of whisper it to yourself. Stay there as long as you want. When you're done, we're just going to roll off to the right side, come in a little fetal position. This is how we end yoga class, but also being mindful. You're in a little space, the shape we all started in, the shape where there's not a lot of thinking going on. Nobody had complicated thinking in the womb. We just stayed here in our shape and got our own warmth and fed from someone else. So come back here. Take a deep breath in. Come back up. Before you jump up and start your day, just thank yourself for putting this much time into making yourself mentally healthy, emotionally set. And if it didn't work, if it was like, I don't understand any of that, you can just go back and look at it anytime. Namaste.